Thank you for joining us. Today we have with us Greg Kondrak, who is a professor at the University of Alberta and a fellow with Amii, the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute. Greg is an expert in natural language processing with a focus on computational linguistics. Thanks so much for joining us today, Greg.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about some of your research interests.
So I'm interested in making computers understand language, and I'm interested in having computers process texts as they exist, because it's a huge source of knowledge that could be taken advantage of.
And so in order to increase computers' understanding of language, what sort of work do you do in this space?
Character level tasks like phonology, orthography, phonetics, morphology, but also interested in syntax and semantics. So everything that is related to human language is part of my interest.
So can you maybe tell us about one particular project or research avenue that you're really excited about or interested in these days?
One particular project that people are interested in is computational decipherment, and we received a lot of attention on our work on deciphering an ancient manuscript called the Voynich manuscript. Another area that we are focused on right now is semantics. So we focus on lexical semantics, which is the meaning of words, how we can define senses of words, like words that have different senses, how we can distinguish between them in the text.
And so is your work primarily around creating computer systems that are able to do that sort of sentiment level analysis?
Yes, so we are, in the computer science department, we are focused on writing programs that perform those tasks. And so these are not just purely linguistics phenomena, but actual tasks that can have applications.
So let's get into some of those applications. Where would this particular research be able to be used, or how could it sort of improve computers' ability to interact with text?
So one important application is machine translation. As you know, to perform translation, we need to understand the meaning of the sentence in the source language. And I'm interested in a subset of that, which is the lexical meaning. And we are interested how the machine translation can take into account different meanings, different senses of words.
If a computer is better able to understand different senses of a word, what would that do for us as the users of those computer programs?
Well, presumably those translations would be better. We depend more and more on automatic translation, and any kind of mistakes in translations are potentially serious, because if you translate something into another language, you don't know that language, and you're not able to check whether that translation is correct. So the accuracy of translation is very important.
So certainly something that could help people who don't have access to a translator, human translator themselves, would be able to use a computer system like this in order to still communicate across language barriers.
That's right, yeah.
That's wonderful. Are there any potential applications of your work within the area of video games at all?
Yeah, so one interesting topic is the artificial languages, so languages that people try to construct. And these artificial languages have very interesting properties sometimes related to semantics.
So interesting. In some ways, it seems that when humans are creating artificial languages, we're creating them a bit too artificially and trying to make them too perfect without overlap in words. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. So the idea is, how can we make the languages as precise, as unambiguous as possible? But in fact, there are reasons that this cannot be achieved in human languages.
So this sort of work would allow constructed languages to be a little bit more natural feeling and natural seeming. Is that correct?
The language that is used in computer games, I think people want it to be as unambiguous as possible. And being aware of those limitations could probably be helpful in designing those languages or those language applications in computer games.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for speaking with us today, Greg. It was really great to hear about your research in natural language processing on computational linguistics. Thank you so much.
Thank you.